Brother Carl Moore, how are you, sir? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Unscripted. I gotta get used to saying that. Yesterday I was kind of just bootleg and just said good morning and went on into the show. But I did give it wings. So once I gave it wings, I need to keep the wings flapping. So welcome again to Unscripted, the morning ride, basically, pretty much. Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning. I'll get started in this in 1 second. Okay. All right, I'll get started. So I posed the question on Facebook. I kind of gave a quick summary of what the overall question is about. And what the woman wants to know, basically, I kind of summed it up as to say, she wants to know, was it a complete waste of time? She was with this guy for over 7 years in a relationship. They had a whole bunch of ups and downs, and then they broke up. And sometimes we break up after these long relationships. We break up, and then there's this kind of thick bitterness between the people, and then they go off into their way. It's like an explosion happens, and things just fly out. She fly over there, he fly over there. Well, this particular guy, as she says it, he got married to someone in less than a year after their 7-year relationship. So that's why I posed the question, was it a complete waste of time, or was he supposed to be with her? So it's a real tricky question, but here's my take, just my opinion. You might have heard me mention on a couple of other lives where I was talking about allowing the man the space to be, in some cases, sometimes men, we are very much undercooked as men. A lot of us, sometimes some men, he didn't have a father figure in his life. Maybe he was, he saw his mom maybe being treated a certain way. Maybe the dudes on the block kind of raised him and kind of gave him a real ratchet way of looking at things as it pertains to women, settling down. It's a whole lot of elements to it. Nonetheless, I have to say this. Be that as it may, and sometimes it's unfair because it could seem like the woman loses a lot of her good years when she's in these long and lengthy relationships. However, whenever there's a lengthy relationship, you got to look at both sides because it's two people involved, and unless somebody is handcuffing somebody and making them kind of stay in the situation, then both people are responsible. I get it. Sometimes women may look at a guy, or may be in a relationship with a guy, and they may feel like he sold me a good story, and that's why I hung in there with him, because he told me we were going to do this, he told me we were going to do that. Sometimes when it's cases like 7-year-long relationships, sometimes there's kids, sometimes they're not, but sometimes people may have had a child or two in that time span, and so it makes the house look even more like a family, but it's not. It's just like, I call it marriage practice. It's not marriage. Nonetheless, we do these practice things, and we be with people for a long, long period of time. And like I said earlier, it's not that I have to be delicate with this, because honestly, I'll be straight. This particular topic, I have to be authentic to it, because this is something I've struggled with myself. So I've been in situations before where the clock done ran out. Like the time went on, and and maybe I had a good relationship with the person. Like we had a good relationship, we were close, things were cool, commonality, all those things. But sometimes, I'll tell you what I learned early on for me. I learned that although, we as men are always evolving, including myself, for men, like, I know sometimes women may look at longevity as themselves being proven, or like we say, loyal, ride or die, all those kind of things. But I have learned, as much as sometimes it be a struggle, that time doesn't work good for men. Time doesn't work good for men. For men, every man needs to be definitive. When you get in a relationship, you have to be definitive and just say, this is what I want to do, and this is who I want to do it with. And I believe these are the steps we should take to get to point A, B, or whatever you call it. Because if you don't, it's easy for men to get put to sleep. We get comfortable. She's cool. She's this. She does this. She does that. She does this. And before you know it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on is there. And next thing you know, now you have moved into this realm where you got all this time, but nothing to what you're going to do with it. And in most cases, the women, it depends. Now, I have to keep saying this. Not all women have the same end goal as marriage. Not all women. Some women just want to be companionships. But for these long 7-year relationships, most women are going to be like, well, what's going on? Don't waste my time. Most women are going to tell you that. They want to know where the ship is steering. And, in some cases, look, I'm going to be straight. Like I said earlier in the show, us men, we are very much undercooked a lot of times, and we just not as well done as we need to be before we are in these relationships and or marriages. And that's just being straight. And a lot of times, who knows how much a man has to dissolve within himself to come to himself, but that man and his creator, because it's all under control. But nonetheless, we as men, we do some stuff. Like I'm telling you, I've said a prayer, and I probably don't know if I should have asked this prayer, but I asked God, I said, listen, I want you to really show me, because I saw my actions, I saw how I was carrying on these relationships and this, that, and the other, but I used to just wonder, what's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you? And so I asked God to show me so that I can get to the bottom of it. And when he showed me, I saw a lot of things I didn't like, a lot of personality characteristics, a lot of dismissive ways, a lot of selfish stuff, a lot of just things I didn't probably think I was mindsets I didn't think I was capable of encompassing. Nonetheless, sometimes a man has to get to the end of himself to understand himself. And so you gotta know what you working with you first before you can offer you to somebody else. And I think a lot of times we get put to sleep as men. We get comfortable because women, you all can do it up. Y'all can do all kinds of things to make that guy just feel like he in heaven before the rapture take place. He in heaven down here. And so as a result, when you are doing these things for men, let's just keep it real. When you make a man super comfortable, it takes the how do you say, the fire out of his urgency to move forward with you. Again, I'm gonna say it again. When you make a guy, in some cases, very, very comfortable, it takes a lot of steam out of his urgency that you may have once seen him acting like. A lot of times you'll see this type of steam in the first year, 6 months and all this. He's like, yeah, if nowadays you might not even see it in 6 months. It might just be 30 days or 3 months. Just depends. The times have changed. But women, you know how this is. The guy will come out like a Mack truck. And then because he's coming like a Mack truck, you telling all your friends, your family, you make the mistake of telling all your friends, family, oh my God, I think he's really serious and all of this. And then when you make that mistake of making him extra comfortable, when you make him extra comfortable, now he's like, okay, well, what do I need to be urgent about? This is good like it is. This is also why you hear people talk about in these, why when the subject of marriage comes up, this is why you hear men say things like this. Like, why we gotta mess this up? It's comfortable like it is, so why we gotta rock the boat? Because in his mind, look, you've allowed things to be this comfortable, so why we gotta shake it up now? Don't get brand new now. We good like we are. And so if it's this mindset that will carry you on into those 5, 6, 7, 8, and then beyond year relationships, because the person is comfortable and the woman is often stuck comfortable. And so, and in most cases, in most of these long situations, most women, they kind of by default, they hang in there, but it's not really their choice, because women, they hang in there because they feel like they have a piece of you still, you're still present, and all this, that, and the other, especially if there are kids involved or whatever. But trust and believe, women want to feel like you validate the worth they feel they have. And in this validation, this comes through you, in most cases, look, pulling the trigger. That's just, call it what it is. That's just what we do. And so, as a result of that, as a result of not, maybe doing things the right way, like I say, I gotta repeat this again. Us men, a lot of times we come out undercooked, and not done at all. I mean, I'm talking about the oven process when I talk about this. And ladies, if you're honest, sometimes it can be, if you're a cook, you shouldn't keep on. You can check and see if something is done, and see, if you know how to cook, you'll look on there and say, oh, I need to keep this in here a little bit longer. But if you want them people keep pulling it out because you're overly anxious, you're disrupting the process. And if you keep pulling it out and keep pulling it out and disrupting the process, guess what? Then when you get frustrated because you pulled it out too soon and the cake is not done, you open it up and you cut the slice of piece and it's gooey. Now you mad. Now you want to trash it, throw the relationship away and break up and be done. All that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind, when you are about to discard something, and I'm going to explain why that 7-year relationship turns into he breaking up with you and marrying someone else quick. Because guess what? While he was with you, good, bad, or indifferent, there was an investment taking place. You had, there was a lot you had invested in him, and sometimes the same. It's not always just the men not doing or contributing anything. Sometimes he invested, you invested. And so as a result, it's almost like somebody taking over your 401k. It has matured, and it has been sitting there building money. But when you got frustrated, you quit the company and you left. Well, guess what? In some cases, there's that unclaimed money that someone else comes along and assumes. And so because this person or this man or woman was already matured and they were already to a certain position, now what you may think, yes, it took you 7 years, and maybe you got to take responsibility on both sides of it. Again, a 7-year stretch can't just be done by one person. So you got to take two sides of it. And so as a result of it, as a result of this guy coming along now and being almost done, the other woman is smart to say, oh, he just need to be a little more brown on the top. Let me go ahead on and put a little bit of this on him and let him go right back on in there for a second. Then he pops out, bing, I think I'm done. I'm ready to get married. And the other woman pissed off because she like, nigga, I've been with you for 7 years. I told you what I wanted to do. We got little Shamika over here, and you told me that you feel like we was growing apart and things wasn't so and so and so and so. And then here's the other gut puncher. You know I got love for you. You know I got love for you. That interprets into, you are the loyal friend. You've garnered this loyal friend title because you put in the time. Yes, he's glad that you did it. Yes, and it's raw. But the way you avoid these long-term things like this and feeling bitter and upset at the end and feeling like you didn't, the promise didn't pay out. Because a lot of times we men, we sell the dream and sometimes we don't pay out the dividends. The way you do this is if you see the man has some issues, meaning if you see he's in the oven, but you like him, you love him, but you see he's in the oven, let him cook. If you don't see the worth of him being in there, and if you don't care about him coming out of there or how whatever the case is, this means you don't. If you feel like you're wasting your time, then call that what it is and walk away from the oven. But you got to be done with it. You can't walk away from the oven and then look back and get mad because somebody else took it out. If you done with it, walk away and be well with it. But the fact that this particular person is mad because 7 years went by, and so she's saying, was this a complete waste of time, or was it in the cards for him to be with her? Here's an ugly, ugly, ugly risk about time. Sometimes, as opposed to us maturing to be wives, in some cases, we play the role of the midwife to be birthed for somebody else, which is an ugly, sad truth. But it's sometimes it's what happens. But the way you avoid that is you got to stay in front of it. You got to look. You got to watch the signs. You know, you just have those conversations. Okay, we had 1.5 years. We had a year. We had 2 years. We had 3. Whatever. Have the conversation and say, just checking in so that you know, I'm not trying to be for this, I'm not trying to be doing this long haul stuff with you or whatever. My idea of this relationship playing out is this kind of way. Are we on the same page, or are you thinking something different? At least this makes the person say, oh, so she is aware, and there is a referee on the court. The clock is running. It's not just free fall and anything going on and time lapsing and all that. It's what it is. And so, in a case like this, it's a slippery slope, because you just can't tell. Sometimes people do grow apart and all this, but like I say, as men, everybody may have a different opinion. I just think we see time differently, and in order for men to kind of be in the right place at the right time to do the right thing, he has to be deliberate in his movements towards marriage. You got to be deliberate, because I've found if you're not deliberate, you'll just be sitting there waiting and wait. When I say waiting, I'm talking about WADING, waiting in the water, just drifting, because it's comfortable and you just drifting, enjoying the breeze, enjoying the weather, the sun, whatever, all the treatment that you get. It can spoil you. It really can. And comfort is good, but comfort is bad. It's good, but it's also bad, because it can totally dilute plans, dilute progress, and just have you just sitting there. And I don't care what nobody say. Unless you deliberately know this person was God sent for you, time, after so much time, it becomes the respect goes out the door with the time. Because sometimes people say, well, dang, why you give me 10 years? Well, you don't got no more value in yourself than that? It's going to tell you what people say. And that's just the truth. And so you have to everybody got to own their own value, and you got to know when enough is enough, or when too much time has expired. You got to know that for yourself, and you got to take that and just go with it. Like I said, I feel sorry for the young lady. I understand. I can imagine that being a real punch in the stomach, to be with somebody for 7 years and then turn around and he get married within a year after breaking up with you. It just sounds like, sometimes I think we don't think about how ready. Sometimes some of these men really more ready than what you think. They're just kind of waiting for a reaction from you, but they're more ready than what you think. This is why when you walk off, they step up. It's unfortunately, but it's ugly truth, but it's the truth. And again, there's the last but not least before I go. In some cases, like this lady's question, she said, was it a complete waste of time, or was he supposed to be with her? Guess what? 7 years, 10 years. If you're not supposed to be with the person, then consider it a blessing. Consider their departure a blessing. Because sometimes if people, the unfortunate thing about love today is that we all see value differently. Because we see value differently. What may be great about you that you may know, guess what? You can sing your own praises till the cows come crowing in. I mean I forget the term. Forgive me. But you can like you said, until the rooster crow, you can sing your praises until the rooster crows. Nonetheless, If that other person is not buying what you're saying and they don't see what you're selling, they don't get your value. And because they don't get your value, they sit you in the stockpile. They don't get your value. And to me, that's one of the most unfortunate things about love. If we all saw value the same, you would see more marriages. But because we don't, you don't. So, again, I hope that you got something out of that. But again, like I said, with these long relationships, there's two ways of looking at it. It's a waste of time, or it's a blessing that time stopped. Waste of time or a blessing that time stopped. Forget about whether the person got married or not. Waste of time or the blessing of the time stopping and no more suffering. That's how you got to look at it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your day. You have watched Unscripted with Mr. Dixon. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys tomorrow promptly at 8:15 a.m. Thank you for tuning in, and see you guys later.